there, this is Popular Stranger, and we are back at you again today with another Madden 21 Ultimate Team video. In today's video, we're going to talk about how ability points work in Madden 21 Ultimate Team, how to assign abilities to your MUT squad, how to use X Factors. If you're new to this year's game, it could be a little bit confusing, and that's what we're here for, to help you figure things out. And even if you played Madden 20 and abilities and X Factors were very understandable for you, the whole system has changed this year, and I think it's been a change for the better, to be honest. So let's go ahead and take a look at my lineup, and we'll just kind of go from there. So last year in MUT 20, we were introduced to abilities and X Factors, and what you could basically do is on each side of the football have 3 X Factor and superstars, I guess we can call them, on offense, and 3 on defense. And one really big misconception last year is that if you put abilities on every single player on your team, some people automatically assumed all of those abilities would translate over to the field, but that was actually false. You could only have 3 people, so there was some kind of strategy towards it. You know, once the game kind of went on, the certain abilities that were overpowered, everybody was kind of using the same thing, and some were very unbalanced. Jukebox, Evasive were just really tough, Enforcer was really tough at one point, and it left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouth. A lot of people are not happy about abilities, and when they were announced that they were coming back, you know, I understand the frustration about it. This year, I think the abilities are far more balanced, and then the system that kind of holds them is set up to have better balancing as well, and that's with ability points. So this is really cool. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. So within your lineup here, you're going to be looking over to the right under the active superstar section. Now, how do you get abilities on your cards? You pretty much have to power up your cards. If you don't know what powering up is, or you're unfamiliar or don't know how to do it, there's going to be a linked video to this one. So in the upper right part of your screen, circle with the letter I, go ahead and click it. It's going to show you how to power up cards in MUT 21. It's more of a beginner's tutorial, but I think, you know, some of you out there might be helped by it. But for the most part, in order to put abilities on a card, you have to power them up. Now, there are some rare situations like this Tyler Lockett card that my face cam is kind of blocking. We'll go to this guy, Mike McGlinchey. He comes with predetermined abilities and X Factors. He's part of the promo, the Superstar MVP promo that came out. You can't really see them on that screen. But if you look on his card art down here, you can see there's little symbols, you know, below his name. And then if you look at another card like Bo Jackson, there you can see him above the various chemistries. I think looking through the binder is a little bit better of a look, so we'll cycle through some of the cards. You can see there's a little symbol above, you know, the Rod Woodson, the Ravens team logo. So the bottom row, and this is kind of a feature of the new card art, is that the bottom row has your chemistries, your team chem, your scheme chem, and your physical chem. We'll be dropping videos on physical and scheme chems coming very soon, probably throughout the rest of this week. Want to kind of help you guys start building your lineup here, but the X Factors and abilities are shown above those, so we're just cycling through a few here, and you can only put them on power-ups with exception to the Superstar MVP promo. You see, like the Tyler Lockett, these cards come with predetermined abilities and X Factors. Tre'Davious White has it as well, Preston Smith has it, Mike McGlinchey has it. So let's go back on over to our lineup here, and let's start actually adding abilities onto our roster. So the abilities are onto the cards already through the power-up system, but now we actually have to activate them, because again, just because your card has abilities and X Factors on it does not mean that that translates over to the field. They actually have to be activated under this active superstar section. So 2 really cool things about abilities and X Factors this year: they now require what are called ability points, and each ability on your card has a point value associated with it, and you can only maximize 10. The cool thing about that is that you can now have more than 3 on offense and 3 on defense, depending on how many abilities that particular ability uses. Also, there would be times last year where you just would throw an ability on a card just because it was there. Now you can specify just the ones you want, so it makes more customization, more flexibility, and I really like that. Now with X Factors, there is 0 points required, and you can actually activate like 3 guys to have X Factors, and then totally different group of guys to have abilities, and I'll show you that in a moment. So we'll go with our X Factors first here, and I'm going to go to Lamar Jackson, and I have both an X Factor and an ability set up on him. So now, if you take a look, it says X Factor limit 1 of 3, ability AP limit, ability point limit 3 of 10. So what do we have on this card? Well, we have the Escape Artist, which is 3 ability points, and then we have Trues on there, which is 0. Because again, X Factors do not require or do not contain any type of points, ability points. They're just simply X Factors. So then we're going to go over to Julio Jones, and you see we have Route Technician. This is what's already activated on his card. It requires 2 ability points. So all we got to do is simply select him, and now you'll look at the AP limit is now 5 out of 10. Now, if we went to one of these cards that has all of these predetermined abilities on there, we could. You see we have a Tyler Lockett on there. He's got 1 ability point for Return Man, 1 for Energizer. If we wanted to go ahead and activate that, we're going to simply hit X again, and then boom, our AP limit goes to 7 out of 10. Now, if I don't really care for this card or I don't want these abilities, all we got to do is go back to it, hit X, and it's going to deactivate it, no longer need it. So we'll now go to work done. I have Backfield Master on him, 2 ability points, more hot routes, and improved catching from the backfield. Again, simply just hit X, and now we're at 7 out of 10. Let's move on to the next one. Jermichael Finley, tight end apprentice, 4 additional hot routes when lined up at tight end. It's very simple. You hit X, it activated, and now we have 4 superstars on the team, and we still have 1 ability point left. Well, you know what? We got Bo Jackson. Reach for it. It only costs 1 ability point, so I did the math on these, and I figured out a way to get 5 guys with 5 guys with abilities on offense all at the same time. Now these guys, again, I want to be very clear here, they do have abilities and X Factors associated with them, but they are not activated because they are not activated on this screen. That's the only way it will translate over to the field, is if they're activated on the screen and you have that, that limit 10 out of 10. So the offense is all set. We are good to go there. One little really glitchy thing is, like, say, all right, you got all your guys activated. Say you move Tyreek Hill, or I shouldn't even say Tyreek Hill. Say you move Julio Jones on your specialist screen. So I'm going to go all the way over here really quick. Say you put Julio Jones as your slot receiver. That's going to actually deactivate him on the offense screen. So you got to go back in and redo it. That's just like a little kind of glitchy, annoying thing that's been happening since last year. So even if you make a change on the specialist screen, that's going to deactivate him on the offense screen. Same thing with defense. If you change your sub linebacker or a slot corner, it's going to deactivate them on the defense screen. You have to go back and fix it. So now we're on defense, and I actually want to show you how you can activate a card with no abilities but just an X Factor. So we have Steve Atwater down here as an example. I have no abilities on him, if you can see the card art, but I do have Avalanche and X Factor assigned to him. So I can simply assign that. It's going to take, with the X button, it's slowing up a little bit here, but that's going to go ahead and assign his X Factor. Servers kind of weren't working there, but now it's assigned. Okay, so his X Factor, or our X Factors, are 1 of 3, but 0 ability points because I don't have any abilities on this card. So this is another example of really cool customization. I'm going to do the same thing with Asante Samuel. I go ahead and assign universal coverage, which is an X Factor, to this card, and now we're going to have 2 out of 3 X Factors with both of those guys activated, but no ability points have been used thus far. So now we're actually going to assign some ability points, and we're going to use half of our ability points here on Elmas Doomerville, because you know what? Edge threat is really good. There's no pass rush in this year's game, and unfortunately you need this ability to get to the quarterback, and edge threat alone just isn't enough. So I'm adding edge threat and under pressure because I've just noticed with these 2 abilities activated at the same time, Elmas Doomerville gets to the quarterback a lot, and with the defense that I'm running, I would like some pressure because we're playing a lot of coverage. So we're going to go ahead and activate him, and now we have 5 out of 10 ability points used. So that's 50%, obviously. I'm really good at math. Now we got to make a decision. Where else do we go? So we got Rod Woodson with 1 step ahead. We got Dre Bly with 1 step ahead. We got, this Preston Smith with Under Pressure and BOGO, but that's one of those predetermined cards that we're probably not going to use. And then we got Fletcher Cox with the Speedster ability. So if I activate Dre Bly, right, and now we're at 8 out of 10, and then I try to go activate Rod Woodson, it's going to say adding this player will put you above the ability points limit of 10. To make room for this player, lower your AP ability by removing other players. So we don't want to really get rid of Doomerville. Honestly, I don't want to get rid of Bly. So at this point, we kind of got to take an L and just not activate Rod Woodson. And we got to search for either 2 more players that can get something with 1 ability point assigned to it, or we can go with this Fletcher Cox card here, who's going to get the 2 ability points for the ability called Speedster. And there we go. We got our 10 ability points assigned on defense, and there's still X Factor slots open. So I could go through my roster and maybe buy another X Factor slot on one of these other cards, and then we could potentially have, 3 players with X Factors on defense, and then another 3 players with abilities. So the X Factors aren't as OP as abilities, of course, but it's still pretty cool that you can, put things on all these various players if you want. A lot of customization. And then one other benefit of this whole ability point system is that if an ability is too overpowered, the community hates it, there's glitching going on, stuff like that, they can always raise the cap level of that ability. So say like there's, whatever, Edge Threat is just way too good. If they want, and this is super hypothetical, they could throw it and make it 7 ability points. So now, yeah, if you want to use it, you can still, but it's going to cost you, and you're not really going to be able to use many ability points towards other players. Another thing is, it's more so on offense. A lot of times last year, archetypes restricted the type of abilities that you could put on a card. So like Lamar Jackson, his archetype, he would never be able to get Hot Route Master because that's just not his playing style. This year, he will be able to eventually, depending on his overall and certain criteria, but it's just going to be more expensive, and I like that a lot. So if you want to put Hot Route Master on a mobile quarterback, you certainly can, but you're going to lose out on ability points in other areas and benefit your other, players on your team. So that's pretty cool. Last thing we'll go over is that the specialist screen, you do have the ability to put abilities on your ability screen. That was a tongue twister, I think. So only a 2 ability point limit, and for the most part, that means you can put it on your kicker. And so we have focus kicker on Morton Anderson. You can put X Factors on the specialist or special team screen, but I don't know how you would do it. Like, because I think Tyler Lockett is my return guy, and I know he has a return type X Factor, but it's still not letting me activate it here. So I would say just rule of thumb here is that you can use this screen to put either an ability on your kicker or your punter. In most cases, you're going to want to put it on your kicker. And that's it, man. If you got any questions about abilities and ability points, down below in the comments section, feel free to leave it. I'll try to answer them the best that I can. Hopefully this video explained it to you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. My name is Popular Stranger. I'm out. Peace.